So in continuation of the last 3 videos of dividend policy chapter, 5th module, I am continuing with theory of relevance, Gordon's model. So this you could see in I.M. Pandey's textbook, Dividend Relevance Gordon's model. It is the full name is Myron Gordon's, M-Y-R-O-N Gordon. It is also pronounced as Myron Gordon, M-Y-R-O-N-G-O-R-D-O-N. So after James Walter's model, Myron Gordon also specifies that the payout ratio and retention ratio of the company will affect the present market value of shares, which is called as PO. So the retention ratio, what is retention ratio? The more reserves kept by the company from the accumulated profits. What is payout ratio? The dividend being paid by the company. So there is always a balance between the company's retention ratio and payout ratio to determine the value of the company or the market value of shares of the company or the retaining capacity of the company. So let us check what are the assumptions underlying under the Gordon's model. Gordon's model have a lot of assumptions like James Walter's model. First assumption is that the firm is an all equity firm with no debt. It's very important assumption. The companies following Gordon's model will be usually firms which is all equity. That means there is no debt, long-term borrowings made by the company. So entire financing is done through what? Equity. That is one of the assumption. Then the second assumption is that no external financing is available. Again, it indicates that no debt is there. The company will never go for borrowings. Around 18-19 period, around 16, 17, 18, 19 period, many companies in India were having this policy. If you check the annual reports of Infosys, the IT company, the leading IT company, you could see that around 2016-17 balance sheet, there were no external debt. Entire financing, it was done internally, means through equity. So that is what the second assumption, no external financing is available. Retained earnings would be used for expansion, if any. See, that is a major point. As the company is not borrowing externally, they have to find funds for long-term investments only through the reserves or retained earnings. So the retained earnings would be the only source of finance for expansion for such companies. Then the next assumption is that R is kept constant. Rate of return of the company or internal rate of return of the company is always kept constant. Then K is kept constant. The cost of capital or overall cost of K is also called as KO. K is always kept constant. Then the firm and its earning is perpetual. As in case of James Walter's model, the firm is having perpetual life. Its earnings is also assumed to be in perpetual. Sorry. Then there will be no corporate taxes. Even though it seems to be illogical assumption that is applied under the Gordon's model. There are no such companies in India where corporate tax are not applicable. But in order to find out, in order to prove this model, we are applying this assumption that there is no corporate taxation. Then the retention ratio, once decided upon by the company, it will be kept constant. What is retention ratio? The reserves, how much you transfer to company from the accumulated profit is called as retention ratio. It will be kept as constant. Now let us check the formula. Here we have to find out the present market value of share. That is what I told in dividend policy chapter. We are not studying about how much percentage of dividend we are issuing or to the shareholders. It is not what we are studying. We are studying here what is the present market value of share when the company issues dividend, whether it is relevant. This dividend policy is relevant and it may affect the present market value of share. That is what we study. So we have to find out here the present market value of share using the equation 1 minus B into EPS divided by K minus B into R. This you could see under the I.M. Pandey's textbook. Now, in page number 751 to 753, you could see this formula. That is, once more I will repeat, PO is equal to 1 minus B into EPS divided by K minus BR or B into R. Okay. So, let us check this problem. The problem I am taking based on the I.M. Pandey's textbook illustration 22, I am doing this problem. The information given are, R is given, which is required for the formula. It is 3 situations which is given. Growth firms where the R is higher than K is also given. R is higher than the K. K is 0.1. R is higher than the K, which is growth firm. R is equal to K, which is normal firm. R is less than K. R is 0.08, which is less than K, 0.1, which is which is known as declining firm. These 3 situations are given in the question. EPS is given, which is required for the formula. EPS is rupees 10. And K, it is given in the question, as I told, 0.1. B, what is B? B means retention or retained earnings. And R is rate of return. R is given, as I told. What is B? See, B means the retention ratio. For example, if we take this problem, in the first case, let us check the first case. R is equal to 0.15, means growth firms. What is the equation? Show the, we could see that equation is P's present market value of share is 1 minus B into EPS divided by K minus BR. So here the thing which we have to find out indirectly is B. B is retention. It is based on retention. For example, it is mentioned in the question payout ratio 40%. Means what? If payout ratio is 40% means, what is it? 0.4. That is when we are putting it as in decimal version, it will be 0.4 and retention ratio is 0.6. Means what? This 0.6 is known as B. So this B is what? It's based on the retention ratio or reserves. So in case of 40% payout ratio means what? 0.4 is the payout ratio and retention ratio is 0.6. Means what? B is 0.6. Similarly, in the second case, you see, payout ratio is 60 and retention ratio is 40. Means what? Payout ratio is 0.6 and retention ratio is 0.4. Means B is 0.4. We are applying here. Third case, you see in the question it is given. Payout ratio is 90. Means what? Payout ratio is 0.9 and the retention ratio is 0.1. Okay. So the retention ratio is nothing else but B. So we will get all the things which is related for the problem. What is the equation? 1 minus B into EPS the whole divided by K minus BR or B into R. That we are applying directly in all these situations. First case, let us see. When payout ratio is 4, retention ratio will automatically become 0.6. So 1 minus B means, what is it? 1 minus B. B is retention ratio 0.6. Into EPS. EPS is what? 10, which is given. The whole divided by K minus BR. K is what? 0.1. It is given in the question. So 0.1 minus B we know 0.6. 0.6 into R. R is 0.15. Like that we could apply for whole situations. I will be sending the scanned pages for your reference, which will be easy to know. And you could find out the fluctuations of present market value of shares. See, you could see that in normal firms, every time the present market value of shares will be same, rupees 100. But in case of growth firms, you could see the present market value of share using Gordon's model, it is the highest for the firm with the low payout ratio or high retention ratio. It will be the highest. and it will come on declining. And in case of firms with in the case of firms with or declining firms, the present market value of share will be the lowest. Anyway, these all calculations which we got by finding out the present market value of shares in case of growth firms, normal firms, declining firms, using different payout ratio, 3 situations, we could prove easily that the dividend payment or dividend payout ratio and the retention ratio will have the effect on the present market value of shares. It is relevant to the present market value of shares. So 2 theory problems or 2 models we had studied from the last 4 videos, which is one James Walter's model from the earlier video, and here Gordon's model, which both indicates that relevance, it both indicates that payout ratio or dividend policy is relevant for determining the present market value of shares, so that the present market value of share changes based on the dividend policy of the company or payout ratio and retention ratio made by the company. Thank you. The next video you could cover the last model, which is MM model, Modigliani-Miller model, which is theory of irrelevance. Okay.